Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago, guys. As I said previously this morning, we're talking about the state of the economy here on the island of Tobago. And to have that conversation with me, I have the privilege of speaking with Mr. Curtis Williams. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Shenelle, and good morning to Tobago and all viewers and listeners on Tobago Updates.
It's amazing to have you in this morning as we have this discussion on where we are, especially seeing that we are in that season where documents and budgets are being prepared for later on this year. So as we look toward the future, and as we say, we are in that quote unquote election year or the year leading up to elections, there's a lot that's happening. We've seen a lot of things that may have adversely affected the Tobago economy. One of those recent events had to do with that shark attack that would have placed a small dent in our tourism because we know a lot of people come to the island looking
Correct.
forward to going to the beaches. Additionally, we had that oil spill that took place just a few weeks ago. In your mind, what is a synopsis of where you see where we are right now as an island economically?
Well, Chanel, at the present stage, the Tobago is on the brim of putting things to create that platform to really start that growth. So we're looking forward to the preparation of that platform. And in that preparation of platform, we see the initiative of the e-tendering, because we thought gone by the tendering process throughout the Tobago House of Assembly was not adequate enough. And with the initiative of the e-tender, we see that being a good initiative, and it's a platform that I've used many years ago, and now it's in the Tobago space, and I'm happy to have such a platform here. So there will be a bit of transparency, and we, as the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, we endorse that project 101%, and we're looking forward to the Assembly adopting all aspects of it and rolling it out to the Tobago contractors and suppliers. So we are really endorsing that project. Also, we want to look at the tourism platform. Tourism plays an important part in Tobago. Almost everything is hinged on the tourism dollar. And we have realized that tourism is really fragile in the space that we are at now. Mm-hmm. The shark attack, and we see where that went a long way out. The beaches were closed. We had negative feedback coming from our stakeholders and users of the island. And hence the reason why we're so happy that the beaches are open now, mm-hmm. and we can get back to normal, some state of normalcy. And we're glad with that. The oil spill, the same thing too. Everyone was panicking, thought that the oil spill was all over the island. Now we realize that the oil spill was only contained to a particular area, mm-hmm. and it's about 80 to 90% tidy up. I passed there up to this morning and looking at see trucks getting ready to move all the different containers. So we see that Lambo Connector Road might be open soon, so we will have the traffic traversing in that area. So we welcome that. Tima did a tremendous good job. I mean, I can't say no more for Tima. Tima did a great job, and we appreciate that. We know the Ministry of Energy assisted with these contractors, both foreign and local. So we were quite happy about that. And now we see some sort of incentive coming in, where the energy minister mentioned about, I think it was $15 million US to compensate. Mm-hmm. And we welcome that. We wish that could come tomorrow to assist the fishermen, the fisher folk, and other businesses around that area that will be affected throughout the oil spill and all those who are involved. So we are really, really happy about that.
When it comes to that money that the minister spoke about in terms of when they went to the UN, do you think that money would be coming directly to the THA, or would it be dispersed via the central government?
Well, there's some of it may stay within the central government and the ministry, but and some may come to the THA. Chanel, the challenge sometimes is how are you going to split this money up? So we have to put some sort of parameters, because everybody now going to open up their purse and waiting for you to drop something inside of it. Okay. So before you will have claims coming left, right, and center. So it got to be managed and managed in a proper way. I know the Chief Secretary and his administration will have a bit of challenge treating with that. But I know they will do it in an equitable manner and make all the users and all the stakeholders and them feel fair that something, at least some form of compensation. We're looking forward to, we see the assessment going on the impact of Rockley Bay project. And again, we endorse hotel development on the island. Now the question is, what size of development do we want 500 rooms, 1,000 rooms, 700 rooms. What can we carry? In what area do we want these development? Next question.
Exactly.
That's correct. And what type? Because we heard about most of our stakeholders asking for high-end boutique type hotels, premium, so that we can get the front of the plane filled and all that good stuff. So the question there now will be getting a mixture of these plans. So we will have both high-end boutique type, premium, niche, and then we look at the 500 rooms to bring the stock to get the airlift going, because that new project with the airport is a significant project going there, and we don't want a white elephant down there. It meant that we want to have jets coming in there, every day. We want to have at least 2 jets landing at Crown Point in the new terminal building, and then we had to look forward to putting business around that area, because you give the Tobago businessmen spaces in that airport to probably rent and so forth, and you do a large investment to get inside there, and then you can't really monetize that investment because there's no traffic. And so then you probably will not take the opportunity, and then we will have all the names in Trinidad coming across, and they will take all the spaces. And it's no fault of us, because there's no sort of traffic in that new terminal building. So we asked on the Airport Authority and Ministry of Works and the finance minister to give us an opportunity to let the Tobago businessmen get some space in that airport, so that we could ply our trade with some reasonable rates. We can't go with the rates in Trinidad. No way we're going to bust. We have to look for reasonable rates that we could put for startups in Tobago to really make the thing look good. No, it's not a shack you're going to put in there. It's a real facade that you're going to put down. So it's going to cost you money.
Definitely. And if we are saying that Tobago's offering to the world is tourism, do you think that it's important to host campaigns at this very moment that suggest to the wider world that we are back open for business, and we are even now better than before after the oil spill, after that shark attack?
Yeah, definitely. I think now is the time, because remember, you're planning for next year winter. We can't plan for this year winter. This year winter gone already. So we are planning for next year winter, and hence the reason why the campaign have to start now, to put in the necessary things in place, going to the trade shows, and giving them the different folks and them the opportunity to invest in Tobago in terms of airlift, in terms of spaces in the hotels, different packages put together, and all that we had to offer. Shenelle, we have a niche product here. Tobago is unspoiled, untouched, and we can market this to the world. This is what the world wants. We don't want another Miami. We don't want another New York. We need to stay within our niche, nice, green and serene, fresh water. These are the things we're looking for.
Yes, and you touched a bit on the luxury market, because you spoke about filling up the front of the plane first class. But when we work it back from what this demographic really requires from a vacation stay, a lot of the time you see them looking for exclusivity, and we as Tobago have to put forward a product where we have exclusive packages. What do you think needs to be done to facilitate this target audience in a better way?
Well, first of all, we have to look at what plants we have on the island, and so far we only have 1 or 2 plants could really do the boutique type and the niche market that we're looking at, the high spenders. So we had to develop that area. That area need to be developed like yesterday, so we could attract some of the high spenders and the niche market that we're looking forward to. And some of our products, some of our plants here need refurbishment. And I go around to most of the hotels there from Mount Irving and some other names we can call, and we will see that some of them need some upgrading. Mount Irving Golf Course, where the golf course is not there anymore. And that was once a famous golf course. And I remember as a young man in the 80s, I choose Mount Irving as one of my choice of place of employment, and there was a wonderful golf course there. And today, when I look at the golf course, we've seen that there's issues. So we asked upon the different plants, hotels, so that they would have to definitely do some upgrading to keep up with the trend of what's happening on the island in this space.
Right, and we know that the Division of Tourism, they have that refurbishment grant. Do you think that is sufficient for the type of upgrades that are needed at this time?
Well, it's not a mere fact of just giving grant, because grant is free money, because you're not going to pay it back. And so we had to look at the thing, the tourism agency have to look at the thing in a holistic manner and look at all the possibilities and getting the different plants and them up to a standard that is palatable. We're now seeing the space, how they're going to partner the hotels and then going to partner with the agency to get them all recognized under a certain level with bureau standard. And those are the things we want. There must be a minimum level in which you ought to have a plant in order. So your room must have basic stuff inside of it. Your guest services must have certain things that they must do. And your restaurant must have certain things that goes with it. And hence the reason why we applaud that effort where the tourism agency and the bureau standard is coming together to produce a standard so that the room stock in Tobago could have a little higher standard than just the 1-star or 2-star in which we are. So we do have all those old cabinets and all those beddings that looking really, really washed out, and the walls and them looking like all down and out and stuff like that. So the plants and them really need some refurbishment work to get them up to the standard of international.
I agree with you totally. Guys, we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back as we continue this conversation. See you soon.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawn.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. As we wrap up our conversation this morning, we're touching a bit on the crime situation here on the island of Tobago and how that affects the Tobago economy. Now, we've seen a number of incidents happening within just the last 2 weeks and even the latest one this morning. How do you think this is really impacting not only the psyche of the people, but the business on the island?
Shenelle, as I rose this morning at 5:30, it was a message up on my phone with about the latest murder on the island. I mean, the matter is being still, because the police is still on the scene, as I can see, and we're not too clear as to what is the motive for that crime. But we've seen within the last 48 hours a lot of criminal activity, as you said, murders, etc., happening. And we're a bit concerned. It's a bit concerning for us too, as the business community. Even our guests on the islands kept asking the questions, what's happening, And we see the gang culture is penetrating our space. And it's something that we expect that the ACP Hazel and his team to address forthwith. And it's not isolated, because we all think that it used to be the West and the tongue. Now we realize the thing gone to the East, Speyside. I never could have believed in Speyside you will have these kind of, you can imagine that? Speyside of all places? No, I never would have believed such. And now we're seeing these things happening, and we are a bit concerned. And I know within a couple weeks, we will definitely be having some conversation with the ACP to understand what are some of his strategies to treat with it, because it don't look good at all on us here in Tobago. We are a peaceful island. We are accustomed to a certain level of tranquility, and now it's getting a bit uncomfortable. It's getting a bit uncomfortable. There's a bit of concern coming towards us from our members. Some of our members are very much concerned, and so we really ask the TTPS and the law enforcement to step up the game. I know in the space there was something bantering around about the reviewal of the Firearm Act and all that great stuff. Yes, the spirit of the act is good, but trust me, when you look at the details of the act, no. And for example, they indicated that if you're a licensed FUL, there's some safe spaces you can't carry the firearm.
Yeah, exactly.
With. So
that's one that we have to rethink.
So when you're read in reading the thing, you understand that the spirit of it is good, where the sense that you want a panel to determine you getting a firearm instead of a one person, good, and some other aspect of it, but there's some information or details inside that act that, trust me, it really can't apply. So I hope that it be well ventilated before it reaches the stage where they're going to pass such a bill. Yeah.
I totally agree. And before we wrap up this morning, what can we look forward to from the Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce for the rest of the year?
Well, what we can see popping up with us, we're pushing to get our website on. And soon we will have our website up where members and non-members can interact with the chamber. There are going to be lots of things on that website. It's going to be a really interactive website with lots of information on what's happening in the chamber, a lot of information, and the benefits someone can have by joining the chamber, being a member of the chamber. We had our Tobago advisory desk, and that will be part of it, the TBABs, Tobago Advisory Bureau Services, and that would assist business in bringing their business to some state of readiness. We had the OPR going on. We do, because in order to get on the e-tender, you have to be OPR ready.
Right.
So we will assist you in getting OPR ready to get onto the e-tender system and some other initiatives we want to work with. So those who are struggling with their finances, we want to assist you in getting that together. Just a simple bookkeeping, and we will have an expert to at least guide you as to how to make your business bankable. So if you need to approach the bank for a small loan to do public capital investment or even working capital, we will be able to assist you in that process. So there's a lot of things that we at the chamber are working on now, okay. And we hope that we get the support of the Tobago business. Sure, we open for membership. Our membership is open, so you can come in and become a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce Tobago Division, and we will hold your hand through the entire process and guide you as you go along in Tobago with your business.
So currently you guys do offer mentorship to new businesses on...
All of that will be on our website. You will be amazed to see that website. And we definitely will show the Tobago public what we, the Tobago Division, doing to assist our local business. Remember, you don't have to be a member to get on the website.
Okay.
Right? There are parts that you will be able to get into being a non-member, and there are exciting parts when you're a member you now have access to on the website. So we're looking forward to that.
Excellent. And again, thank you so much for joining us here on Tobago Updates, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting. And thank you for all that you have been doing to make us the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, have a great day, and thank you for joining us. Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago, guys. We have been talking about the Tobago economy, and I've been having that conversation with Mr. Curtis Williams who is the chairman of the Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And as we continue the conversation, we're talking about the fragility of the tourism industry, which happens to be one of Tobago's main offerings to the world. And we spoke briefly about that shark attack and the oil spill, but there is a conversation that's going to be happening very soon regarding having more flights come to the island of Tobago directly, and that conversation is happening with the Caribbean Airlines. Tell us a bit about that discussion.
Okay, fine. What transpired is that certain stakeholders within the tourism industry and Tobago met, and they realized that having a direct flight, or having that flight coming from Toronto to Trinidad, can touch down in Tobago. If that possibility happens, it would be really, really great. And also they were having conversation with other airlines coming into this space. It sounds favorable, and was something that they decided that, hey, let's engage Caribbean Airlines into a conversation as to if that flight going into Port of Spain can touch down in Tobago on its journey onward to Port of Spain. And so they decided to write Caribbean Airlines, and Caribbean Airlines reply. And so they're going to have this stakeholders meeting to treat with it. Right? And so we've seen that being a very, very thoughtful thing on the initiative. And these are private sector, private persons who have no stake, they said no meat in the game. Mm-hmm. And they decided to write Caribbean Airlines as a body to speak about that, which is interesting.
The topic of the extension of flights between Trinidad and Tobago, now that has been one that has been on the table for a while. Well, ever since the post-COVID period, where we have never returned to pre-COVID hours in regards to flights between the islands, which has caused a problem of congestion. Do you think that this topic will return to the table during these discussions that are going to be happening at the Mount Irving Hotel?
No, the discussion at the Mount Irving Hotel is exclusive for direct flights coming from abroad, not the domestic route. It is a discussion. We're only homing in on direct international flight. We know the New York flight do touch down here. I think the numbers wasn't looking favorable as some folks think, but we're looking at the Canadian flight coming in, and because that flight is extremely filled coming down to Port of Spain. So the numbers look favorable for the Canadian flight, so we want to explore that opportunity in getting the flights there. We know the summer vacation is upon us, and we are having a meeting with the Port Authority this afternoon, and so we will engage the port into a conversation as to how we're going to treat really upcoming summertime, and then we know there was a RFP out for a new vessel, and we want to probably get some update on what's going on with those things. And so we as I indicated, the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we engage these agencies in conversation so that we will find out their mindset on things going forward, so that we could be proactive in the business sector and we're not going to be reactive. So if we knew that the vessel is going to go dry dock on X time, we were able to, and to Y time, really can able to put things in place and so forth moving forward. So one and two little challenges we may have, we want to ventilate at that meeting, so that we all come together and no one squealing and jumping on top of the table. is a measure of having conversation with the relevant agencies. So if we're having an airbridge issue, we want to engage Caribbean Airline into a meeting to treat with airbridge. If we're having a airlift issues, we want to engage Caribbean Airline to deal with airlift. And same thing with the Port Authority. We engage them to treat with all aspects of the port, whether it's the cargo, whether it's the passenger ferry, is to treat with all aspects of it. And this is the directive of the Tobago division. The squealing and the shouting, that'll work. We're not into that. We're into having dialogue and meaningful dialogue with these agencies, and we want outcomes. We also give them solutions. We're not going to there and just complain whole day and night. We only talking, complain. We're giving them solutions, meaningful solutions, solutions that we pass through situations. We analyze the solutions and we give them, and they probably may adopt some of it, all of it, or none of it. But the idea is that we're not coming there just complaining with no solutions.
Right. As we look to the summer or the July, August vacation, you would have mentioned that a lot, because as we know, tourism is one of the main offering, and that is one of our peak seasons. What are some ideas for innovation that you have that you could suggest to the private sector as well as the THA that is specific to this July, August period to help with that traffic that's coming to the island?
Well, one of the main things is to, first of all, let's know the calendar of events. So all our promoters and all those who are interested in having all the different fêtes and having all the different activities around the island, we're asking them to get in touch with the Festival Commission, and so that they can put your event on the calendar or the agenda of events for the season. So then now we can take that and have a conversation with the relevant authority, whether it's the Port Authority or the Caribbean Airlines, to ensure that we can move the amount of folks that need to come across. Because we know that airbridge is always an issue. It's a burning one, is a sore point. And no matter, to me, it's not going to be resolved in the near future. It's going to be an ongoing thing, going to be a conversation going on. Because when we speak about airbridge, we had to talk about the Ministry of Finance. Because in order to increase any flights on the airbridge, it's money. So we had to talk to the Ministry of Finance, who is the stakeholder company in the Ministry for Caribbean Airline. So the conversation definitely just not around just putting flights, but we must justify the flights and so forth. But right now, as you see, sometimes you go into the booking system, there's no seats. And then you need to get to Tobago or you need to get to Trinidad. So you definitely have to go stand by. You have no choice, right? But we can tell people that the Port Authority with the fast ferries, there are room, lots of room. So, I mean, you could use the alternative by using the Port Authority to get you to and fro. I know sometimes it's not convenient for everyone because it's a 3-hour trip, right? But as compared to a 20 minutes flyover. But again, if you can plan and you can put the use of the fast ferry, it's undersubscribed. We ask all our local residents to use the fast ferry as much as possible to get them to and from Trinidad. And you could drive on your lovely vehicle and drive it off in Trinidad. There's no need for you to come out and get taxi and all that good stuff. You drive your vehicle on, drive it off, do your business, drive back on your vehicle, and get back to Tobago. That's seamless, and I think that works for a lot of folks on the island.
And I think one of the issues has to do with the international tourists. When they come in, most of the times, you have flights that would land in Port of Spain about after, like, let's say 8:30 from an international flight. They are unable to get that last flight from Port of Spain to Tobago. And when we think about using the boat as an alternative, that means that they would have to overnight at a hotel, an additional cost, and then traverse to the port in order to get to Tobago. So that also creates another level of inconvenience.
It is. It definitely is a bit of inconvenience for them, because no guest wants to know that you have to transit and stop over. You need direct. Hence the reason why we're talking about direct international flights into Tobago. So we're looking at all the possibilities of getting those flights direct into Tobago. Landing in Trinidad, we see KLM increase their flights for the winter season. And we want to get some of the guests across here. Correct. So again, Carl's supposed to take a look at that and said, oh, right, good. That may be a grand opportunity for us to put on 3 more flights or 4 more flights so that we could pick up some of these guests coming to Trinidad that really want to come to Tobago. And that's a grand opportunity, But again, that would be a separate conversation than our meeting on Thursday. Our meeting on Thursday is to deal directly with airlift going straight into Tobago from Carl.
Well, this may be an opportunity for the Tobago Chamber to have a conversation with some of the MPs for Tobago, along with the Minister for Finance. I don't know if that's something that you guys have.
Yeah, definitely. We're willing, and we are trying to get the Minister of Finance to have a conversation. And we know now he's quite busy treating with some other things. The media review coming up, and I know he's quite busy treating that. But we want on the earliest opportunity for him to come across and give us a tour of the airport, the terminal building that is being constructed. So we at the business level, we can have a understanding of what's going on in that space, and we could prepare Tobago business people to take advantage of the opportunities. Now, as you can see, all your rental folks, they're on the outside of the airport. So when you finish this brand new terminal building, these rental folks will now be in the inside of the airport. What happens when you become inside of the airport now? That means that you're going to be charging. So before you were outside, they were doing their hustling outside. In the new airport, I don't think they were able to do that anymore. So everything will be contained like what is in Port of Spain. So they will have all these nice little booths, right? Shenelle car rentals and etc. But in doing that, they now have to pay something. And that's where some of the issues may popped up, because all the time we're outside, we're doing hustle, we're making real money, we ain't paying the airport authority anything, we ain't paying nobody nothing. But now, as a new terminal building goes into play, you now have to formalize your arrangement now. So you can't be outside doing the hustle, as we just call it. You have to be inside in a proper order and stuff like that. And then you may have to pay based on how Trinidad operates. Everybody within the airport space, beside paying the rental for the airport, you have to give the airport authority 10% of your sales. I don't know if Tobagonians understanding this. So when you're getting involved in the airport, there are certain things that you have to adhere to. So you're not only paying that for that space per square foot, but you have to give them a percentage of your sales, and that's all in the agreement. So we had to understand these things happening and put ourselves in some state of readiness to take advantage of some of these things. And again, it is not no walkover. It will take planning, it will take time, and if we don't take advantage of it, the airport authority ain't going to leave the spaces empty, because the airport going to look like a ghost town. The other players in the field, the big names, the big stores in Trinidad is going to come, because they have 5 branches in Trinidad, and putting a branch in Tobago, even if it break even or even losing, is not a big issue. But we, an indigenous store in Tobago now, you went into that space, you're going to have a bit of challenge.
Yeah, that was about to be my next question in terms of the opportunities. Have you begun or had any conversations with the airport authority on opportunities for Tobagonians to rent spaces in that new airport?
Well, that is the conversation I had with the minister the last time the Minister of Works. And well, at this stage now, the airport is the Ministry of Finance. And then you're going to hand it over to the Ministry of Works. And then they will start the airport authority and so on. I think it is really meaningful that the airport authority at this stage start to engage us, just negotiate and see what's happening in the space and how best you could assist the Tobago business-centric business. Not the business in Trinidad that have a branch in Tobago, you know. No. We're talking about the Tobagonians, developing the Tobagonians to earn foreign exchange. Because we don't, the whole airport going to be just like in Trinidad, going to be players just having a branch in Tobago, and the Tobago-centric people, all we're going to be doing is sending balls in a hut outside.
Correct.
And that's not with development. That's not development for the business people. So we want to see how they can move things to a meaningful avenue by developing us and not trying to push us out this space.
Right. So you guys are negotiating on Tobagonians' behalf.
Well, we hold it. We want the minister and the airport authority to meet with us, and we will have the conversation with them. Because we are not talking for just the Tobago chamber members. We are speaking for the entire Tobago business.
So do you guys suggest that there's a quota of how many Tobago-based businesses should be in that, let's say, duty-free zone?
Correct. There'll be something to enable the Tobago business, whether rent will be on a tier basis, year 1 or 2, year 2, you pay X, and then from year 2 to year 4, because we are development stages. I remember we coming from zero or nothing to where we want to be, as compared to a business in Trinidad who's already existing and flourishing and having all the profits going on because of the numbers, as compared to us in Tobago now who don't have the numbers, and we're now struggling to bring things in. But we would like to see somebody name brand in Tobago in this space. Of course. And I'd like to see them there, and not just, what we're going to have, just, you're going to have just the sweets. We're going to have just the Benevol people and that's it, and we're going to ask us that development. We imagine we're having a brand new terminal building in Tobago, and Tobagoans not having advantage of the spaces in that building due to the fact that the rent is too high or all kind of situations. And that's what we're trying to avoid. At least level the playing field. Give us something in our own space, and not just folks from Trinidad with another branch in Tobago, and that's it. So we have it.
And I think that's a reasonable ask. But we're going to take a brief break, and we will come back as we wrap up this morning's conversation. See you soon, guys.
It's a brand new morning, rise up. Let's go.
Morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. If you're only now joining us, I have been talking to Mr. Curtis Williams, and we have been discussing the Tobago economy. Welcome back. And so before we took the break, we were speaking a bit about tourism. We were talking about the island's economic stability and sustainability. And as we continue our conversation, touching a bit on that e-platform that has been introduced recently, that e-tender platform, we are talking about the contractors on the island. Last time I had a conversation with the Tobago Business and Industry and Commerce. We were talking about the fact that contractors were not being paid on time. And this was a huge issue, as it not only affected the contractors, but it affected the workers, which, trickled down to families. It trickled down to, just the simple things, being able to pay for grocery, being able to send your children to school. And so as we move forward with this e-tender platform, how do you think this would impact, or can it impact the rate at which contractors are being paid?
Well, Shenelle, and I'm happy you brought up that topic. So we have a new platform in which we're going to do our bidding and stuff to put forward an award of tenders and the transparency in that. So now we're going to do, you got the contract, you perform the task, or you supply whatever material you have to supply to the THE. So we want to ask the THE now we want everyone moving to digitalization. So we're talking about ACH. So payments of these contractors, we want to see some divisions started, or I should say some agencies within the Tobago Assembly started doing ACH. So the payment process is done via ACH. So there's no physical check being written anymore. Now, the biggest challenge to us is that payments. So upon receipt of your invoice or certifying the invoice, so whoever is the person within the division that's going to certify the invoice. So upon certification of that invoice, can a mandate be passed so that within 45 days or 60 days upon certification of that invoice to that division, payment must be made. Those are the kind of things we want to look forward to. And we as the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, we want to push for those things. Lovely e-platform, tender and transparency. Let's talk about payments now. So why will I have to produce an invoice and upon, no, I don't even want to say upon receipt of the invoice, upon certification of the invoice. So I send the invoice in, the invoice is gone through the process and is being certified that this is true, we did deliver the supplies, or we did deliver the job according to the specs. No. Will you now set a guideline or a statement to say that upon certification of invoices, payments will be within 45 days, 60 days, as the case may be, so that we could now see, a contractor could see, well, how his cash flow gonna, how funds gonna come in and how he's gonna be able to pay his staff, pay his suppliers and so forth. And these are the things that hinders business on the island. We're a small island state, as you can see, Shenelle, and we don't have that big catchment of cash. So we're looking forward to payments to be on a timely basis. And when payments is hindered to a contractor or supplier, it affects us throughout the company. Throughout the company, the workers can't get paid on time, the suppliers can't get paid on time. It's a ripple effect that goes through the companies. In the past, I've seen suppliers and contractors, crying. Some just there, don't know what to do. Some gone bankrupt. Some just definitely lost their houses. And just because payments was not forthcoming on time. And that's a critical part.
Okay, and we have seen the Chief Secretary at the beginning of his term in office up until now speak on economic diversification and finding other means of finances to support the Tobago Development Initiative. Have you seen any progress taking place in that area, and what suggestions do you have for that?
Well, I have noticed there are a lot of preparations in terms of investment on the island, and I know the THA have gone. They have created an investment desk. There's a special advisor, I think, is a senior technical advisor for investment, and there's an investment desk being created. So I'm seeing some groundwork being done in that area. Remember, these are talks that definitely would take some time to materialize. So even though you go into talks at this stage, the realistic part of that investment may be only realized in 2025. It won't be in 2024 because the investment is major investment in the island, whether it's direct investment, foreign direct investment. So it will take a little while, but there's some better things happening on the ground in terms of that. The preparation for the investment space is important. Now, in getting the investment into Tobago, there may be some hindrance. Definitely, we know that central government plays a part with it. Because based on what is the investment, whether it's a port investment, whether it's a marina investment, there may be agencies within the space that we will need necessary approval from, and we will need that kind of cooperation between central government and the THA to get those investments moving forward. So whether we're talking tongue and country planning, whether we're talking about the EMA, whether we're talking about the Port Authority, whether we're talking about ministerial signing off on certain things, there definitely will be some sort of approval or regulation that we may need central government to assist with. So as we go about getting our investors here, we have to keep in mind that we ought to have a dialogue, or we must have some sort of happening with the central government going forward.
Or at least a healthy relationship.
That's correct. That's correct.
And we haven't seen much of that, especially with that road that's happening down at Storby from Shilvan going down that way with the EMA stopping that road. You have any views on that one particularly?
Well, Shenelle, we need the road. You see the congestion going down to Crown Point. I traverse that road every day, sometimes 4 times a day. And sometimes it took me roughly an hour sometimes to leave from Scarborough to get to just to Crown Point. Just a whole hour. And if it's rush hour, it's going to be an hour and a half. All depends on what's going on in Crown Point area. So we definitely need a secondary road. And now we see the process have been, I mean, the road is probably 90% complete. I now see when I pass there, I see at the roundabout by the lights there, I see something is going to happen there soon. And I applaud that, and I'm waiting for that. But we know that there's a bit of issues there with the landowners and what they want for their land in terms of compensation, and so that part is being sorted out as we speak. So I hope that really come to an end. So at the end of the day, whether it's going to be THA put the road or who put the road, I want a road, because right now it's terrible. We need something done, and we have to get it done.
Understood. Guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back right after this.